This is a 15-second clip from a beginner-friendly build order guide from Hera. Keep an eye on the panel in the bottom left corner. I've counted the number of times it switches to give you an idea of how fast he's moving. In contrast, here's the equivalent 15-second clip from the beginner-friendly build order I'm covering in this video. Before jumping into the demonstration, here are some of the key features of the build which I'm hoping will make it as beginner-friendly as possible. First, no deer luring is required. Second, Loom is researched before we attempt to lure any boars, giving us an extra layer of safety in case something goes wrong. Third, 0 hotkeys were used in the execution of the build. Even as a beginner, I would highly recommend getting comfortable with a handful of important hotkeys. However, I wanted to demonstrate that this build is possible without them. Fourth, despite the fact that the build only uses mouse clicks, I tried my best to minimize the number of clicks required. Throughout the build, I put in a click counter in the top right of the screen. I managed to research Feudal Age in 163 clicks, which is roughly 32 clicks per minute. Without further ado, let's jump into the build order. I'm performing this build with the Italians, who I think are a great civ for beginners. Stick around until after the build demonstration if you want to know why I chose them. Immediately queue 2 villagers. Then build 2 houses with your starting vills. Move a sheep to the corner of the TC which is closest to your pair of villagers. Next, select your scout and shift-click several waypoints in a small circle. Send your villagers to sheep, then set your TC rally point to sheep. When you have a second, select your town centre, queue up as many villagers as you can, then click Loom. There is no worse feeling than when your sheep villagers decide to kill 2 or 3 sheep at the same time. This often happens when there's multiple sheep standing close to each other. I'd recommend equally spacing your other 3 starting sheep around the TC as I have done here. In most circumstances, your vills will naturally move through the sheep one by one in the correct order. You'll notice that my scout has gone idle, so I'll shift-click waypoints in another circle. After you have 6 on sheep, change your TC gather point to a wood line. We will send 5 to wood, building a lumber camp with the first fill. At this point, we should check back on the TC and queue up another couple of villagers. We'll have to do this several times throughout the build to make sure our town centre keeps running. The second villager heading to the wood line should build 2 houses on the way. After this, we won't have to build any more houses in Dark Age. It's a good idea to shift queue him to the wood line after, otherwise he'll go idle after he finishes the houses. My scout has found a pair of sheep, so I'll direct them back to the TC. Once your villagers start on the 4th sheep, it's time to lure a boar. Select one of the existing sheep villagers and send them to a boar. When the boar is close to your TC, select your remaining 5 sheep vills and get them to shoot the boar. Since we have researched Loom already, it's completely okay if the boar gets off 5 or 6 hits. The next 2 villagers go to boar, bringing us to a total of 8. We will need to force drop food with the boar villagers now and then to make sure we have enough food in our stockpile to keep our TC running. after we have 8 on Boar, we should send the next 6 villagers to berries. Right after you have placed the mill with your first berry villager, you should begin your second boar lure. Select an existing boar villager and send them out. Just make sure you don't pick the low HP vill from the first lure. Similar to the first time around, once the boar gets close to your TC, you should start shooting it with your existing boar vills. At this point, I needed to force drop our food again. This is necessary since boar villagers can carry 35 food at a time, as opposed to the 10 food limit when gathering sheep. After the boar is finished, we will transition back to the 4 remaining sheep. Move one of them under the town centre and shift queue your boar vills onto it. Once we have 6 on berries, change your gather point back to your wood line. The final 3 villagers of Dark Age will go here. When your boar is nearly finished, build 2 farms with 2 of the boar villagers. We have 8 villagers under the town centre. It's possible to crowd 8 vills around a single sheep, but you're at risk of overcrowding it and having a rogue vill deciding to kill another sheep. To me, 6 is the magic balance between minimising decay and not overcrowding. With Italians, you only need 425 food to click up. Cue Feudal Age when you hit this figure. Don't worry if you've a small bit of idle TC time here. If you practice the build a few times, you should get to a point where you don't need to idle at all. I'm showcasing an archer build here. For this, after we click up, we should grab 4 villagers from under the TC and move them to gold. After this, we should grab a villager, either from the berries or your wood line, and build a barracks. Even though I'm doing archers here, the exact same Dark Age works for scouts. In fact, it's even easier. If you want to go for scouts, simply leave your 6 villagers on sheep throughout the transition to Feudal Age and don't build a mining camp. You should make sure you build another house on the way up to Feudal Age. Here, I finished the barracks in plenty of time, so I use that villager to build a house. You'll notice we're floating a bit of wood here, so if you'd like, you can start walling up your base with another villager as well. We'll have a nice stockpile of resources when we hit Feudal Age. We can drop an Archery Range immediately and pick up both the wood and the farm upgrade. Set your town centre gather point to sheep. Once we finish our sheep, we'll start building farms around the town centre with these villagers. Our economy is nicely balanced here. 4 on gold is enough to maintain constant archer production. The berry and sheep fills make sure we've enough food to keep our TC running. 8 on wood allows us to produce archers and also drop some farms from time to time. The main purpose of this demo was to showcase the Dark Age, so I'll wrap things up here. So, you may be asking why I think Italians is a good civilization for beginners. The first thing to mention is that they are included in the base game, so they don't require you to purchase any DLCs, which is an important consideration for beginner players. Taking a look at the tech tree, their big economic advantage is that they require 15% less resources to advance age. This means that it's only 425 food instead of 500 food to click Feudal Age, something you'll notice that I took advantage of in the build. Their unique unit, the Genoese crossbowmen, is a powerful unit that is a lot of fun to play with. It has bonus damage against cavalry, so they are a really nice option if your opponent is playing into knights. However, the biggest reason I recommend the Italians is because of their versatility. They are one of the few civilizations which has access to every single upgrade in the blacksmith. They also have access to thumb ring in the archery range and both bloodlines and husbandry in the stable. If you like playing with scouts and knights, going for cavalry with the Italians is perfectly viable. If you want to play with archers, they not only have full upgrades, but also have a civ bonus which gives them +1 melee and +1 pierce armor. Let's look at that bonus in a bit more detail. Without upgrades, a scout has 5 attack. Without upgrades, an archer has 0 melee armor, meaning each scout hit deals the full 5 damage. Since an archer has 30 HP, 6 hits will be enough to take it down. However, with +1 melee armor from the Italian civ bonus, each scout attack only deals 4 damage. This means the scout will have to hit the archer 8 times to kill it. This increases the archer's survivability by 33%. We see something similar in the archer versus archer matchup. Without fletching, an archer deals 4 pierce damage. It takes 8 shots to kill a generic archer, but 10 shots to kill an Italian archer which has +1 pierce armor. Once your opponent has fletching, the archer's attack increases to 5, giving us the exact same calculations as the scout. 6 hits to kill a generic archer, but 8 to kill an Italian archer. This is a nice behind the scenes bonus. You don't have to think hard about it, but it makes your archer play considerably stronger. To finish off the build, here is a build order summary. Feel free to take a screenshot or even print it out if you want a quick and handy reference for the key points in the build.